Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for day one of Buildmas. If you were here last year at my channel, we do 12 videos around the Christmas season. It's kind of like a little advent of different builds in Disney Dreamlight Valley. So we are starting today on day one, and as you can see behind me, we are creating a Winnie the Pooh themed area up here in Honey Falls in Pixie Acres in the new DLC. Obviously, if you are someone who doesn't have the DLC, do not worry, not all these builds over Buildmas are going to be the DLC. It is going to be kind of like I alternate, so every other day I will go between the base game and also the DLC, and also everything won't all be Christmassy, so just in case that was something you're not interested in, it is going to be as much of a variety as I possibly can. Obviously we will be doing some builds when the new update drops on Wednesday, so there will be a lot going on. Let's get started with day one. So as you can see, I've completely cleared out the area and added in some of the furniture I knew I wanted to use, especially the bigger stuff, because I knew I wanted to include the little honey beehive house that we got from the premium shop, as well as this hay maze. This is actually a Zootopia bundle from the premium shop, but I really like the idea of using it to kind of look like it's rabbits, you know, carrot field. Obviously it's a lot more built up than what he has in the actual, you know, Winnie the Pooh stories, but because of the little carrots on the side of the hay bales, I just thought it'd look so cute to kind of make it and have the idea of it being rabbits area. So obviously later on I will add some of the other little Winnie the Pooh things we've got, like the leaf pile and the little scarecrow and everything, that are for rabbits area, but for now I wanted to get it mapped in this back corner, as it is going to be obviously a bigger area. But you could also use some of the normal hay bales or some fences to also create this if you don't have this particular bundle, as obviously there's a lot of hay bales that come with the new DLC, or there's a couple of base game ones that are craftable as well that you could use. Now once I'd placed most of the furniture in, I then obviously went off camera and dug some of the holes. I did do them oddly mismatched. If that bothers anyone, obviously don't do that. I just personally like the idea of it looking a little bit random and kind of not even. I felt like it just kind of fit Rabbit's character, and that was kind of the reason why I did it. But you could definitely do it a lot more structured if you wanted to, but I added in the final few bits as well as some foliage in and around this area to start bulking it out, because a lot of the background of these areas in this build, because it's such a kind of big open space, there will be a lot of plants and foliage in here. Now with the plants and foliage in here, I do obviously use a lot of the DLC ones, but I also didn't want it to feel too, you know, pixified, so I do add some normal trees as well in kind of yellows and oranges and things like that, to fit with the theme. But obviously I did want to keep it obviously tied in to the Pixie Acres style as well, so I kind of went for a blend. If you were creating this biome or kind of doing something inspired by Winnie the Pooh and you didn't have the DLC, you could definitely still achieve it. I actually do have a video on my channel, I'll link it below, of a Winnie the Pooh area that I did in the base game. In that I do use obviously some DLC items and foliage. This was before Wish Blossom Ranch, so there's no, obviously Tigger's home's not in there or anything like that, but that kind of gives you an idea of how I did it without including all this new DLC stuff. So if you are someone who doesn't have it and you kind of want to see another interpretation with a slightly different vibe of a Winnie the Pooh area, then I will leave that down below in case that helps anyone out. Now once I'd kind of mapped in that main carrot farming area. I then started doing the pathway from Tigger's home and started leading that round. I decided to go with the leafy strewn pathway. I just felt like it fit with the rustic vibe. And sadly with Bush Blossom Ranch we didn't get many pathways. I was hoping we'd get some more, especially like one that would fit Pixie Acres, but I decided this was the one I felt like fit the most. And I also added in the new craftable little heffalump balloon as well next to Tigger's house, and then obviously continued to do some of the backing foliage of this before I continue the pathway. Now, as there is only one entrance and exit to the biome, I wanted to kind of make it this really nice kind of grand entrance in a way. So I added in one of the craftable horseshoe arches, as well as some of the golden bumble fence and then a couple of trees, just to give it this really nice entrance, because obviously this is the only way in, which I really like. So I decided to add those in, kind of start figuring out where I wanted some of the bigger items to go, like the well and the buildings and stuff, before continuing the pathway down. I do originally kind of go with the leaf path, and then you'll see as I go forward I do change it. Just in this middle section by the well I decided to do like a checkerboard look, to kind of look like honeycomb. That was basically the theme I was going for. It's like a honeycomb kind of vibe. So as you see as I go forward, I add in some of the bordered gold pathway, as well as some of the like lighter pathway as well, to give it this really kind of nice honeycomb checkerboard look. Now once I did that, as you can see, we've had a switch of the time of day because it was getting a bit dark. I then continued the leafy path around the checkerboard. Obviously it's a bit of a pain because it starts removing some of it, but I wanted to give it just a bit of a border, as I knew I wanted to put some fencing around this. So I started kind of mapping that in, as well as figuring out my spacing for everything else I wanted to include. Obviously I knew it was only going to be the well in the middle of this area, which gave me, you know, some space to be able to do that. And as well as that, as you can see around some of the areas, I've also made some rugs to look kind of like that melted honey look. I wanted them to kind of just look like honey ponds. Obviously for now they look a bit strange because they're just rugs placed on the floor, but as you see as I go forward, I will start covering the edges with some foliage and kind of bordering it, which kind of covers those harsher shapes and edges, because I just wanted it to look like there was a couple little honey ponds about, give it a bit more depth, and obviously match the kind of honey pond river we've got behind in this biome anyway. So that is something I will get to, but for now I wanted to map in my pathways, make sure that we could get to all these different sections before kind of adding the different borders we needed. Now, as you can see, I've added in the fencing around this well area, and I also decided to go with a kind of structured border with these bushes as well. These are from the Storybook Vale DLC, but you could definitely use base game ones as well. I just really like the colours of these ones, so I went for some of the red and yellow ones from there, and I symmetrically bordered it around this area. I just felt like it did a really nice job of kind of bordering that pathway with it looking quite structured and a little bit more put together, whereas the rest of the biome is obviously quite eclectic and overgrown. So I wanted this bit to be a little bit more structured just because it kind of fit with the theme of the pathing, and then I added in some lighting to this as well to kind of round that bit off. Now, as you can see in here, because there is so much footage of me adding trees and plants and stuff, this is a very overgrown biome. I didn't want to go too much and make this feel like 100-acre wood. I kind of wanted it to feel like Tigger had kind of created this own place ready for his friends to arrive and kind of given it his own twist. So I wanted it to feel very kind of bright, colourful, a little bit weird and wacky and over the top to kind of fit his character, more so than the traditional wooded 100-acre wood that I did in the previous video I did. So I wanted to give it a different aspect for that, and obviously because of it being that more kind of vibrant and wacky theme, there is a lot of foliage. It is very, very busy. So if you are someone who is on a smaller item limit, you do not need to add these many, you know, tiny little furniture items or all these tiny little bushes and things like that. You could definitely utilize the bigger rock structures and tree structures that we have in the foliage menu to fill out some of these bigger areas, or you could add something else that's larger in there, maybe more houses if you wanted to kind of deal with that, because obviously I am aware that when you have a smaller item limit, you can't be as liberal with a lot of foliage and furniture and things like that. But that was just me wanting to explain that is why it's a little bit wacky and wild and a lot going on in here rather than the traditional look that I've gone for before. Now to wrap up the biome, I added in some custom rugs and this little yellow pergola that we got in the Storybook Vale, because I felt like this area was just a bit gappy and I felt like another little seating place would be nice. So I added that in, and then also added in some of the final little furniture items that I felt like were missing and I wanted to add in, as well as the final foliage pieces to blend into that pathway and wrap everything up. So as you can see, here is a tour of the final biome. I've made it sunset just so everything glows better, and as you can see, the first thing on our right is the pergola with the Winnie the Pooh tree. This is from the premium shop, this tree, and I absolutely love it, as well as the new craftable honeycomb table, and then obviously the makeshift pond. I also added in a lot of the balloon trees to obviously have balloons flying everywhere about, and then opposite that we have also got the beehive house. This again is from the premium shop, as well as the little craftable pergola and the beehives there as well, to kind of look like someone would live here. Obviously one day I'm hoping we can put Winnie the Pooh here, or more of his friends, and kind of build this biome up, but for now I felt like that house just fit perfectly. And then as we head to the middle of the biome, we've obviously got our well, which unfortunately the skins don't seem to be staying on the wells in Wish Blossom Ranch, so that is why it's back to normal. But we've got our checkered flooring and our bordered fencing, and then heading out of there I've added in the little tree that we rescued Tigger from at the start, and then a little rock path just leading to that honey river, just so we can obviously fish in there when we need to and stuff like that. And then obviously as we continue down, we've got some seating before we head over to Rabbit's carrot field. As you can see off camera, I have planted all the carrots and let them grow, and I just love how kind of eclectic it looks in here, and it looks very busy and homey, and I just feel like that kind of fits his character and, you know, the theme of the movie. And then finally, as we head down the last piece of pathway, we have got the heffalump balloon, which is kind of hard to show because it's so high up, and then we've got Tigger's home, with lots of the balloon trees around. I wanted it to really feel like he had a lot of them here to kind of go with his balloon friends that we had in his storyline when we unlocked him. I haven't actually done any questing yet with Tigger, so I haven't added any of his furniture or like rewards there yet, but that will get added. But for now, this is the biome, and here are some shots of it finished up. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Maybe gave you some inspiration to kind of decorate for just Tigger's home on its own, or the whole kind of Winnie the Pooh theme in general. As I said, I'd love to add to this in the future with more characters, but for now I'm very, very happy with how it looks, and it is nice to have my first biome in Wish Blossom Ranch decorated officially, so that is really, really nice. But I hope you guys enjoyed day one of Buildmas. Obviously I will be posting 12 videos in total, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to get notified every single day when I upload the next one. And if you have anything in particular you want to see, whether that's in Buildmas or after Buildmas in the future, let me know in the comments and I can add them to the list, because I'd love to do some of your guys' suggestions. But make sure you like and subscribe, as it helps me out so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.